Hello, my name is Simon and welcome to AFC Bournemouth Analysis. Here's my late, but hopefully still great, take on our recent 2-0 home victory over Cardiff City. Yes, the biggest positive was that we won. This is our fourth season in the Premier League and we've always started with a run of defeats, so to start with a win is big, especially against a team that I think we'll definitely need to be above if we're going to avoid relegation this season. It was a solid performance rather than spectacular, but there were some really good individual performances, namely Ryan Fraser on the left wing caused a lot of problems, obviously scored the opening goal. I thought Dan Gosling put in another tireless shift in the middle of the park and showed up Andrew Sermon actually a bit, who had a relatively poor game, lots of misplaced passes, just looked a bit sloppy on the ball, whereas Dan Gosling was always trying to move forward. He made some mistakes, but he was always more positive, always working hard. I thought he was definitely a very unassuming but very important presence in the team. The back two of Ake and Steve Cook worked very well together and kept a clean sheet, which is huge because we only kept 6 all season, so not to concede any goals is always quite special for us. Other than that, Callum Wilson and Josh King both had their moments. I thought Josh King overall had the better game, but Wilson scored the goal, so, odds and evens. But I thought they looked threatening, and Begovic made a very important save at 1-0. So overall it was a very solid performance, and not too much to complain about. That said, as I said, it was solid rather than spectacular, and we'll definitely need to be at a higher level than that if we're going to get points against the better sides in this league, because I think Cardiff will be one of the weaker teams in the Premier League, and I kind of tip them to go down actually. So I think we'll definitely need to play better than we did on Saturday if we're going to beat the better teams. Starting with West Ham, I know they lost 4-0 at Liverpool, but I still think they're going to be a fairly tricky test, especially away from home. I also think the formation of 4-4-2 isn't something that can really work for us long term. I'm not sure if Eddie Howe believes that or whether he's just stubborn and he loves 4-4-2, but I just don't think it's the formation that will see us get long term success. I think it's just too predictable. The first 20 minutes we were the better side, but didn't create too much. So and we were just all saying how a bit staid and formulaic it was, and then Fraser popped up with a goal. So I think definitely there are lots of areas to improve on, but overall it was solid, but as I said, incredibly unspectacular. The ugly, without doubt, Ryan Fraser getting missiles thrown at him by the Cardiff fans, which was very, you don't want to see that ever at a football game, especially as there was no reason for it. He didn't wind them up. Not that you should ever, even if a footballer winds up fans, you should ever be treated or attacked with missiles, but it's bizarre behaviour, and also a shout out to the Cardiff fans who sung England always cheating to David Brooks, who is in fact Welsh. My man of the match is Ryan Fraser. I thought, as I said, Dan Gosling was is a very underrated player for us at the best of times, but I thought Ryan Fraser really built on his great performance against Marseille pre-season and gave a performance he was just driving forward. I think there was a run he made in the 10th minute where he won a free kick, and you knew from that moment on that he was really up for it, always a threat, good range of passing, obviously finished with aplomb, and I think he'll be a big player for us this season. It's just matters where we fit him in, because in a 4-4-2 obviously he fits, but in a 3-5-2 can he work as a wing back effectively with his height? I don't know, but I think we need to get him in the team because he's one of our best players at the moment. Yep, we've got a few contributions on social media for this game, one of them being Lorenzo AFCB on Twitter, who said, "Good win, but we made it a bit more difficult than we should have, and we should have scored more before they came back to us in the second half. Penalties are still a problem for us. At one stage I feared the equaliser, but glad we kept a clean sheet." Obviously a clean sheet is huge, as I said before. We got so few last season, and really we've not got too many in previous seasons either, but you'd think with the improved experience of our back four and obviously the addition of Nathan Ake would be better. I think Jefferson Lerma will also help shore us up when he eventually gets into the team. and hopefully Rico will be an upgrade on Daniels, who's lacking a bit of pace nowadays. But penalties are a bit strange. I never really felt hugely confident when Wilson was taking it. Obviously we had that game a couple of seasons ago where we missed 2 penalties against West Ham, and that still haunts me a bit. But yeah, penalties, I never really feel like we're going to score them. Obviously our record is probably half decent, but yeah, it wasn't a great penalty from Wilson. It was a good save from Etheridge, to be fair. It was quite low near the corner, so it wasn't a bad save, but he telegraphed it so badly. But yeah, I'd like to see King take them, or Daniels, to be honest, because I think they have a better record and they take a better dead ball. But yeah, ultimately I'm not sure if we have a set penalty taker, and that is a bit of a concern. Second, David Yates on Facebook got in touch and he said, inspired substitution. Yeah, I agree. Simon Francis, who would have thought that he'd be a super sub? But in all honesty, Simon Francis coming on was rather bewildering. Saw Adam Smith be pushed up the right wing instead of right back, and Francis got burnt for pace a couple of times quite early on in his appearance. So yeah, I think we saw the good side and the bad side of Simon Francis when he came on, and I just don't think he's a first teamer anymore. He obviously feels he can get back in the team, but I just don't think he should be let back in. I think he's too much of a liability, because if he's being roasted for pace by Cardiff City wingers, then what's going to happen to him against the top 4 clubs? And finally, something that wasn't commented about the Cardiff City game, but I was going to make a preview video. Not enough people contributed, so I decided not to do it and decided to do my fantasy football video, which you can find on my channel. But one from Chaz's 1993 about the season as a whole said, I think Bournemouth will have their challenges, mainly their inability to defend, but overall they will just about stay in the Premier League. After seeing the Bristol City friendly, Josh King will dominate the field, but if Conor Mahoney plays, he may be able to prove himself. Yeah, good points. Our inability to defend fortunately wasn't a problem this weekend, but I think against better teams it definitely will be an issue. So yeah, an unfortunate comment about Conor Mahoney, because I think just a couple of days after that comment was made, he went on loan to Birmingham, so it'll be very interesting to see how he does there. I think he's a very talented winger with lots of pace, really likes to go at his man, so yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens to him this season at Birmingham. And Josh King, yeah, he was scary in that friendly, and against Cardiff he wasn't full at top gear, but I think he caused them a lot of problems, and with his pace, his power, his trickery as well. People just think he's pace and power. He isn't. He's got a great touch. He's got a good passing ability of passing. Not enough to make him a number 10, as Eddie Howe seems to want to make him, but he's definitely got more in his locker than I think most people think. So yeah, that's all for this video. Sorry I went on a bit there, but first game of the season, a win, always exciting. So hopefully we can follow it up with a good result against West Ham, hopefully a point or maybe a win. Who knows, if we can take advantage of some of their slower paced players across their team. You never know. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. You can follow AFCB Analysis on Twitter and Facebook. The links are in the description below, and they're also here. Yeah, and watch my fantasy football video. There's a link somewhere around my head right now for it, where I go through our team and decide which players I think will be the best pick for fantasy. And rather wisely, I chose Ryan Fraser as one of those top picks, and that's turned out to be correct. So yeah, listen to the words I have to say on that subject. But yeah, thanks again so much for watching, and up the cherries in all departments.